October full moon has always presented with this one unique opportunity to speak with our departed loved ones, with their spirits, with those we love on the other side. And I know that you're here for a reason. I know that you are here because you felt within you that something is going to happen today. Something magical is going to happen today. Maybe you will hear from someone who crossed over. Maybe you needed some healing energy, and that's why you're here. Let me tell you, you are here for a reason. So we're going to get started, and I promise you, stay with me for the duration of the time that we have together. And be present. Also, be open-minded. I know you're curious. I know you want to see what's going to happen. The astral channels will be opened and you will connect with your loved ones in spirit. Who knows? This night is not up to me. It's not up to you. It's not even up to spirits. It's this magical dance that is happening right now in the universe, bringing all dimensions together. And the loving energy that we experience today from the dimension of consciousness through which we can communicate with our loved ones in spirit is one unique night to remember. All right, so just want to greet you all. Hello, everybody. Megan is feeling your grandfather and your dad. That's fantastic. So now before we get started and people are still joining in, let me share with you something that will set the tone for our conversations today. All right. So I want to share with you my story. I want to share with you how I got to be here on this side of the screen, talking to your loved ones in spirit. Now, many of you follow me on YouTube, and I share this story often, but it always brings me back to the beginning. It opens me to understand the reason why I am doing what I am doing. So, prior to 2003, so 20 years ago exactly, something happened in my family, which was very tragic, something that was so unexpected, something that almost destroyed the spirit of my family and my own, to be honest. At that time, being Catholic, doing, all the right things, going to church, reading my prayers, I always had a belief that somehow being in church, God is watching over me, that God is protecting me. And by the way, my relationship with God is much, much deeper, but it took a very different road to get there. So in 2003, in March, we received that dreadful phone call from the hospital. They found my father on the road, dying. He was hit by a car. It was rainy, snowy night, and he was rushing home. He wanted to just take a shortcut in the wrong side of the town, in the wrong side of the road. And the driver hit him, obviously without having any intention. And my dad did not make it. He died. And that tragic event, and my dad was my role model. He was someone I always admired. He was a simple man, very hardworking, loved his family. He was everyone's friend, always kind, always helpful. He was very healthy. He looked after himself. He didn't smoke or drink. He was quite, healthy, youthful looking, very cheerful, happy person. Very like a strong presence to be around. And then gone. And I remember the moment when first got to see him and all of his body was broken. All just bones broken everywhere. The trauma of that experience was so deep, and it affected all of us, my family, my mom, my brother, my sister, all of us. The first year since, after he died, we were just getting more and more disconnected, emotionally distraught. We were all suffering greatly, had no idea how to cope with the loss of my dad. And, being Catholic, my questions to God were always, why did you do this to me? Why did you do this to us? How could you take him? How could you take him this horrible way? That was so much pain in my heart, and I was not at peace. No longer. I could go to the church and sit there pretending that I was okay with God's plan for my dad. I was not okay with that. So, year passes by, another year passes by. My family goes through so much. The 2 years after his death were the worst years that I remember. And finally, a friend of mine out of the blue suggests, Josie, why don't you go see a medium? Mediums talk to the dead people. They kind of see dead people, and maybe you'll hear from your dad. Maybe the medium will be able to channel your father, and you will hear from your dad. And I dismissed that idea because in my mind, I was still running the program that psychics, mediums, they were all works of the devil. God forbid that I'm a good Catholic person who would just get involved with some psychics? No way. But this time, I think because of the suffering and pain, I was more open to listen. I was more willing to look elsewhere for answers. And the answers that I was seeking were, who am I? Why people die? No, seriously, like what is the point of someone being born? And then one day they just die and then they disappear from this planet. What is the purpose of all this? And that was the deepest questions that I wanted to know. So I was very skeptical. I remember booking the appointment. I called the medium. So we arranged a session, something called mediumship session. And she invited me over to her studio. Very kind woman, very, to me, weird, a little bit. I was still very uncomfortable being there. To me, it felt like, it's just like dark energy. Like I came with this idea that the spirit communication and mediumship must be something to do with the world of the evil. So that was my initial perception when I came to see her. So we sat down and she's calm, but her presence was so healing and calm. I was so very surprised. So she started to channel. She channeled my grandfather, and then eventually my dad came through. And then it's just something changed. The energy changed. I think for this whole time that I was there, I wasn't even breathing because I was just in this weird space that I was present in my body, but also was not, because I could feel my dad. I could feel his presence with me as if he still was alive and he was still in the same room with me. I felt him so real for the first time in years. The first time I finally felt his presence. And it was just amazing because I felt so good. I felt so peaceful. Even though I was pretty cautious, trusting the information that was coming through, the medium changed my paradigm completely. She gave me some details that no one else could know about my dad. I knew it was genuine. It wasn't fake. It wasn't something pretentious. It wasn't something that I was just always, she just wants my money. And none of that. I actually felt everything that she said made sense to me. And I remember leaving her studio, and it was just like I was flying. I still remember that day. I felt so light. I felt so happy. And I felt finally that the weight of these painful emotions lifted. And I knew, okay, he's not dead. He's not dead. He's not gone. Wow. Wow. I was truly amazed. My dad is still with me. And the separation that we had wasn't permanent. It's just something that we're experiencing now, but we'll see each other again, you know. We'll see each other, we'll connect with each other again. And that got me feeling just so alive for the first time in a long time. I started to feel alive and interested in living. The anger was gone. The anger, because I used to wake up so often, and sometimes in the middle of the night, in sweat, because I was so angry. I was so angry at him. I was so angry at the driver who killed him. I was just furious. And all of a sudden, that was all gone. One session with the medium. So that changed everything. I couldn't function in the same familiar way any longer. I wanted to learn this. I wanted to know what it takes to be a medium. I wanted to know what it takes to be, you know, to speak to the dead people. And that's all I wanted. I was very far from becoming, you know, Josie Grouse, you know, today. Oh gosh. All I wanted is just to know how to talk to those who crossed over for my own reasons, because it helped me. So I studied. I took all of the classes with that particular medium. She was teaching intuition development, and she would not allow you to take her mediumship classes for a year. You have to take all of that, you know, the foundational intuition classes. So I did all of that for a year, and then I took the mediumship classes, and I started to learn as if it was my life's purpose now to learn this. So, and then I was like, okay, who else can I learn from? I was looking for mediums. I was reading all the books. And slowly, one by one, my teachers appeared who were able to show me, to awaken certain gifts in me, to know how to channel, how to communicate with the spirit world. And by 2009, I was doing this with such a grateful heart. And then people started to seek me. People started to ask me for readings. Like, Josie, I heard, you know, I was professionally a registered nurse at that time. I was actually a teacher. I was teaching nursing to nurses in colleges and universities in Toronto. And my purpose was to become a permanent full-time nurse educator and to be taken care of, you know, with good salary and bonuses for the rest of my life, being taken care of. But that's not what I chose, what my soul has chosen. And then slowly people started to seek me out. They started to find me. They started to ask me for readings. You know, I heard you do sessions. You know, can you talk to my departed people? And I started to use these gifts to help. Because when people were coming to me, they were in the same world of terror and pain, agonizing pain of losing their loved ones. So I understood them. I knew what they were going through. And by that time, I was pretty confident to know that the world beyond this physical plane exists. So my first client, let me share with you this one story, and we will dive right into the mediumship. My first client, somebody who actually convinced me that it was my life's purpose to do this work for not just for as a hobby, but also to take these gifts out into the world. My first client was a friend of a friend of a friend who reached out to me, and she said, "Can I see you?" And I said, "Sure, is there anyone on the other side?" She said, "Yes, my son, my one and only son, 21 years old, died a few weeks ago, motorcycle accident." And she came to see me. And I remember looking at her body, rather, because it's like her soul was gone. Her soul was not physically in the body, because the body looked like it was just, there was no life. It was pale. She didn't do any of self-care. She was just grieving so deeply. And it was almost like she was physically moving, but she was not living. She wasn't alive. So it was so easy for me to channel her son. And it was just one of the most healing sessions. I could, even looking at her, how her expression, the expression on her face changed. A little bit of color to her cheeks. It was life was slowly coming back into her body. And I channeled her son that night. It was beautiful. We all cried. And he was there, and he was so cheerful and funny. And he made himself known very clearly that it was him. So this woman became a friend. And she would come to see me every 2 months for the first year. We would sit down. I would channel her son. And every day she would get better and better and better. Slowly, year passed by, and she finally healed to the point where she could, live and function in a normal way. She even got some funky hair, like purple highlights, and she was really laughing a lot, when we were doing the mediumship session. And at that moment, I just felt like my angels and all of my guides were telling me, "Okay, Josie, this is why you're doing what you're doing. This is why." Okay, so for me, this is my why. And I always share my why with all of you, because deep in my heart, my life's purpose is to help heal, is to heal from grief, from feeling lost, disconnected. And I am called to do this work, not just for entertainment and show you that spirit communication is real. I want you to start healing, because the way that I work with my guides, the way that I work with my angels is very simple. I only ask to bring to me the people who need healing, who are going through whatever they're going through, who are also maybe finding their own way to feel the spirits, to receive guidance. Maybe it's your angels, maybe it's your spirit guides, or a particular person, maybe someone you loved so deeply. But I promise you, and I want you to really listen when I'm saying these words, your loved ones are with you today. If you are here, you're joining me today, I promise you, your loved ones are here with you. You can even see my lights started to blink. My lights started to blink. And that's just to show you that we are all connected. Forget about computer. Forget about internet. Forget about all these physical, the facade that we called, we call our life, and remove all of that. And just like I felt my dad on that day when I met the medium, I want you to tune in and feel the presence of your loved ones with you. They are with you right now. You would not have been here without them. They are the reason why you are here. The laws of the spirit world are quite different, but we think it's us, right? We find mediums, we find our psychics and intuitives. That's not how it works. You have more departed people on the other side than you'll ever have friends and family here. And they're all connected. They're all very connected. When I begin to channel these spirits, every message that you hear, it may not be directly addressed to you personally, but the spirit is talking to you. Every single person here shares common something, an experience, a figure, a message, a problem, a situation. You are all here because the spirit brought you here. And I am a medium. Who is the medium? It's the one in the middle. Think of the phone, right? Someone is calling you and you are talking to someone else. The spirit is talking through me. I am the phone. That's my function. You are the receiver. Spirit is the source. So on the spirit frequency, right now, there are many, many, many spirits waiting to communicate with you. But it's not going to happen in the way that you think. So let go of your logic. Let go of your expectations. Josie, please pick me. Just let go of all of that. Because you will miss that one thing that Spirit wants to experience with you. And that's the feeling of love. And I promise you, today, you will, even if you stay for 5 minutes or till the end, what you will feel is deep love. Deep love. Deep love. Because once you depart, there's nothing else. There is no ego. There's no body. There's no bills to pay. There's no fear. You release all of that once you connect with the spirit world. So don't rush this. Savor it. Really know that the departed loved ones aren't where Josie is. The departed loved ones are with you. They are by your side. And I don't know you. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you came from. I don't know your story. But what I know is they're loving spirits who are here to talk to you. So every spirit channeled has a message for you. That's the beauty of mediumship. Because you feel like, oh, it's almost like she's talking to me, even though she's channeling someone else. Every message, every word is for you. Everything that you will hear today, in one way or another, is relevant, is important. Or just close your eyes and maybe disconnect just from the noise and be with your loved ones for the time that we have together. The full moon allows you to be open. The full moon allows you to hear, sense, and pay attention to the spirit energies today more than ever. So I know that you are here for a reason. I know that you have so much love for you on the other side. Okay. So here is how we are going to do this. The way that spirits come through is not logical, as I already mentioned. All right? Not logical. And when they talk to me, I don't look at your name. I don't spend time analyzing and processing. Is this a good person to talk to? I am intuitively know who the message is for. And as I said, I don't know anyone joining. Well, maybe a few people. So here is what I'd love you to do. If you want to receive a message, just raise your hand. There is a feature there called Raise Hands. And what we are going to do is intuitively, I will connect with one of you one at a time, and we'll see how it goes. So raise your hand. Another thing I'd love for you to do is to open your cameras, please. To talk. And